that first day?
Good. Probably the first group was maybe a little sharper than the second, but yeah, I think for what we wanted to accomplish today, as far as getting some of our systems work in, and just sort of those first glimpses of getting the guys back into the battle and seeing what they can do against their competition it's a good first step.
Mike, you got your feet wet, obviously, jumping into the foray with the team last year, but first training camp, anything you want from a mindset standpoint to implement right off the bat that you guys want them to carry forward?
Well, you can see that we're not wasting any time. Right from the start, we've got a lot of pace to our practice. We want to play fast. We want to be a team that's aggressive off the attack and tough to defend. So I think you can see that from the start of our practice. That mentality has to continue to build for us. I thought we took some big steps last year, but we'll continue to grow that and continue to work on that. System-wise, we've got a plan in place that every day we'll be touching different parts of our game and checking things off to make sure that all aspects of it are covered. We'll be able to get into some greater detail than we did last year. We got a couple other things that we have to introduce, but yeah, like I said, we got the plan in place here, and it's a good first step today.
Mike, you talk about greater detail. How much does no World Cup and then having a full camp instead play into that?
Yeah, well, you got your whole group here, which is big, and so yeah, I think it has an awful lot to do with it. It's nice to have your group together right off the hop. It makes your camp stronger when you got your top players here. It gives you a better reading on some players. When they're out there and they have to try to create offense versus Petro, or they have to try to defend versus Vladdy, you get a pretty good sense of where a player is at. So it certainly raises the level of our camp.
How's Sanford?
I'll have more of an update for you tomorrow, but I think we all saw him going to the boards there, and he's pretty uncomfortable. Yeah, don't have much of an update right now, but he was certainly in some discomfort.
Mike, what does it say about a young kid like Samuel Blaze to begin camp playing with Tarasenko and Stastny, just in terms of what you want to see from him and his potential?
Well, I think you've seen a number of young kids out there, and we want to put them and surround them with good players and give them a chance to show what they can do. So we're not giving them anything, we're the guys that are there have earned it based on their play and what they've done in the past and what we think that they're capable of. It's one thing to ask a young player to come in and say, okay, try to make our team. But if they're not well surrounded, then they're not really going to have their best chance. So we like to think that we're giving them all their best chance right now.
Good to have a healthy Robbie Fabry out there too.
Yeah, it's good. You can see a lot of the things. Obviously, he's been off for a long time, and given the off season, again, first day, you don't expect anybody to be quite where they need to be, but you can definitely see his skill, his speed. And interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out with him working in the middle there.
What are you looking for there? I mean, just.
Well, you know what? I think the offensive part of it will take care of itself. For a guy, he's obviously not a huge guy in comparison to a lot of the centermen around the league. And what he's going to have to prove is that he can do the dirty work, defend, make sure that he's able to keep the puck out of his net, but more importantly, is he able to get to his offensive game? Some smaller centermen have a tough time. They have to battle so hard in D zone. They have nothing left when it's time to go on offense. So that's part of it. We want to see how he defends, how he learns to defend. Not because we want him to be a defensive specialist, but good players need to find a way to separate, need the opposition from the puck, and to get to their game. So that's what we're looking for.
Do you need to see him in a game to do that, or can you assess?
You know what? We're gonna, as we ramp it up, we'll continue to have game situations here, and that should start to give us a pretty good idea. But it's not something that we expect right from day one him to have a firm grasp of. That's for sure.
You have Bouwmeester and Parayko in one group. You have Edmondson and Pietrangelo in the other group. Is that a commitment from you to sort of play those out and see how they look together? Or
yeah, I would say nothing is a commitment right now. This is a perfect opportunity to try some things, to experiment. Again, like you said, like you've seen with our young players, and some of the lines that we have them situated on, it's a good opportunity for us to try some things here. And then once we get into the games, we'll start to see some different looks too.
Mike, when you saw what some of those young guys did for you at Traverse City, do you give them a different look here? Are you a little more mindful to see if they can elevate and take that into a training camp with pro players?
I mean, you have to know that number one, there's not a lot of jobs available, but that doesn't mean that somebody can't win a position. And you know, as a coach, or you know, when you're part of this, you know coming in who you're going to keep a real close eye on. That doesn't mean that somebody can't grab your attention and all of a sudden earn that same look from you as well. But you know, we have a good sense of who we think is knocking on the door, and you know, part of that might be Traverse City, part of that might be what they've done in Chicago or in junior hockey for that matter. So yeah, it's always a fun time to see how those guys come in. You know, are they capable of playing with the top guys? Does their game match theirs? Does it complement theirs? How do they play against the top guys? And that's the fun stuff we get to see right now.
I know you've only been with Tarasenko for a year, but do you see him growing, maturing, both on and off the ice?
I do, yeah. His fitness testing scores were very high. Extremely pleased about that. His work ethic in practice was very high. You know, I think that Vladdy is really starting to grab hold of the fact that he's a leader. He wants to be a leader for this group, and obviously with that comes a lot of responsibility.
So you said you know who you have your eye on. Who you have your eye on?
Well, there's a bunch of them. Yeah, I don't want to single too many. I mean, there's a number of young kids out there, and there's obviously different roles. You know, like I thought a guy like Musil had a really strong Traverse City camp. We're not going to play him with Tarasenko in day one because that wouldn't be his role. So you know, a lot of it has to do with that type of thing. But again, I thought the team did a good job there. And I think we've seen some really good growth from some of our young players, and so it's fun.
Vladdy touched on having, I guess, 6 Russians in camp and how different and how nice it was to be able to converse and stuff. Does that play anything to his leadership?
Yeah, I think you can see him kind of taking those guys under his wing, and you know, I think we could all imagine what it would be like to be in a foreign country and kind of be a little bit shaky with the language, or not to have anybody that speaks your home language. So I'm sure it's a comfort thing for Vladdy as well. But again, I think it's a lead. I think he really likes taking those guys under his wing and kind of showing them the way and helping them feel more comfortable and give them a better chance. So it's again, that's good leadership on his part.
With him, I mean, we know what kind of a shot he has, but was that skating? Is that something that you can tell out there on the first day? Just
yeah, he looks really good. He looks really good. Yeah, so that's a good sign, and we'll just have to make sure we stay on it.
Did everybody look like they were in good shape? Or?
Yeah. No, we don't have any big red flags. I mean, obviously, not everybody can be at the top. So we have some guys at the top and some guys at the bottom, and the guys that are at the bottom will have to work their way up. And but certainly some guys grabbed our attention by their test scores and the way that they look right now.
When you have a guy like Blaze and you say, hey, and we're going to be on a line with Tarasenko and Stastny, does the guy kind of brighten up, or get like, oh my?
It depends on the character and the personality, and that's what you look for. Some guys rise up, some guys defer, some guys have a tough time. The nerves get to them too much, and other guys really take advantage of that kind of opportunity. So you know, it's that's kind of what we're looking for right now. You know, if you're going to play in the NHL, then you have to be able to play with good players and against good players, and so we'll try to do some more of that going forward here.
Is that a combo that you really wanted to see, or is that almost for a guy like a reward, almost for a guy who's taking some strides maybe, and you want to see him?
It's not a reward. Again, for me, it's you know, if we want to get a good sense of these young kids, you know, and you really try to get a feel if they are ready to play in the NHL and if they have a chance to make our team. Then you have to give them that chance, and you know, if they're playing a line with Vladdy, then there's no excuses that you're not going to get the puck or you're not surrounded well. And then the other flip side of that is you are going to be getting reps against NHL players, you know, when it's your turn to go too. So yeah, it's just part of the decision process for us.
Rookie question, all that skating at the end looked like a hockey version of wind sprints.
Yeah.
It was exhausting just watching it. Is that normal?
If you want, we can put you out there and give you a little, yeah. Yeah, I'd say this time of year you do a little bit more of that than you would during the course of the year. But yeah, we I said the other day, we want to be a team that's very well conditioned, a team that's capable of taking games over in the third period. We play a game that's very demanding. You have to put a lot of work into your shifts, and in order to do that, you have to be in top shape. All right.
Thank you, Mike.